Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the Blue Jays Strike Zone, Game 6 of the ALCS review, and welcome to the broadcasting legend, Storm and Norm RUMACK. Now, listen, I don't usually give kudos where it's abounded, but here it is. This is why you check out the Fired Up Network each and every day. Norm, what was your prediction at the start of the ALCS?
At the start of the ALCS and even in the midst of the series, even when the Mariners went up 2-0, my pick was the Blue Jays to win it in 7. And now we have Game 7 coming up on Monday night.
Don't ruin it yet. We're gonna go to Game 6, and I gotta. Norm, can you please be a little bit more fired up? You're on the Fired Up Network. I'm wearing a Blue Jays shirt. You're wearing your tank top. What more apropos than that? Let's get to Game 6. First of all, the big news here, the big news in Game 6. For everything, everybody criticized John Schneider. He picked Trey Savage to start, a rookie, 23 years old. And he pitched his heart out today. So kudos to John Schneider. All right, kudos to John Schneider. Vlad Guerrero, for the people who are complaining, 500, 600 million is too much. This guy has never come through. He does not only come through, he hits a home run, he hits a double, he hits a single. Every time at bat, he's like Aaron Judge. You expect something to happen. And the Blue Jays' total team effort, they win the game. Game 6, 6-2. Tomorrow, Game 7, do or die at the Rogers Center, 8:03 p.m. first pitch. And Beaver goes to the mound, but John Schneider has said that everybody, even Norm RUMACK, is available for Game 7. That means Bassett, that means Kevin Gausman, that means everybody is available here. Now, Norm, before we touch on Game 7, you predicted it's going to go 7 games, right? Why did you predict 7 games? And do you think that any team has an advantage in Game 7 since this is already a 7-game series?
No, and I've emphasized the point throughout our conversations that momentum exists in small elements of time. It doesn't carry over, so there's no reason why Seattle can't have a big game tomorrow night. I'm not saying that they won't, that they will. I'm just saying, based on what happened in the series, no one expected Seattle to come in off that series with Detroit and win the first 2 games. No one expected them to win the 3rd game in Seattle to set up this Game 6 and 7 showdown. And so I'm just saying anything can happen and expect anything can happen. So Seattle isn't going to roll over and play dead, so I'm sure anybody on the Seattle Mariners roster is available to pitch tomorrow too. So if you're a Blue Jay fan, you should expect that.
Yeah, you should expect. But
like you said, my pick was Toronto in 7, so I'm not changing my mind. Toronto in 7.
All right. So I'm going to ask you this. You mentioned you're probably one of the only media members that go 7 games. If this is a 7-game series and it is 7 games. Now, you mentioned the Blue Jays in 7, but why? Now we're in Game 7. Why are you leaning towards the Blue Jays in 7?
Because they've been more consistent throughout the season. And they've been more consistent with their hitting. Seattle's been kind of up and down. And, Cal Raleigh can only hit so many home runs. I mean, he hit 60, so he's done pretty well.
Naylor hit home runs also. He hit another one today, Naylor.
Yeah.
Canadian there.
Yeah. So just that Toronto has been more consistent in everything. The only question mark with Toronto is a little bit in their bullpen, as we've seen. But with Seattle, it's like you just don't really know what you're going to get, right? And so that's why I picked Toronto at the start of the series, because there's just more consistency throughout the Toronto lineup. And that's still the case now. But like I say, that's not to say that Seattle can't come up with a great Game 7. So you got to be careful. I'm just saying, if you're a Blue Jay fan, just expect anything and everything because that's why we watch sports, right? Because if we knew the results, we wouldn't watch the games ahead of time. We would just look at the final score, watch the final 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
All right. So now let me ask you this here. More Seattle has never gone to a World Series. The Blue Jays, of course, winning in '92 and '93. Does that sort of give the Blue Jays a small advantage, or because it was 35
No,
years ago, so it doesn't really matter?
these guys weren't born then.
Yeah. So
No, it gives Toronto no advantage. I mean, it's a history book. It's got nothing to do with the current roster of either team.
Yeah. So that's also now for the Blue Jays to win, like you're saying, the Blue Jays should win in your estimation because you. Why will they win? Is it Guerrero continuing its slugging? Is it great pitching by Beaver? Is it
Like I say, it's just a greater consistency throughout their roster, greater consistency in terms of starting pitching, and greater consistency in terms of hitting. As you said, Guerrero, has been pretty steady. He struggled the first two games. Didn't get what did he get? A couple of hits or something.
but
First
then
two games.
there?
So, but yeah, overall in the series, Toronto's been just more consistent in hitting key hits from their key players, and Seattle some key hits, but less consistent. So the consistency certainly favors Toronto to win Game 7. But like I say, each game is like a series in and of itself. So I don't believe in momentum carrying over from game to game. That's why these guys are pro athletes, and that's why we're fans because they have short memories. They have to be able to play professional sports. You can't let something sit in your head for a couple of hours or a couple of days. You got to move on and play the next game like it's a series of its own. And that's the way I would expect both teams will approach Game 7, not thinking about Game 6 or the first 6 games of the series. So.
All right.
But
So
I would pick Toronto 9 times out of 10 just because of their greater consistency.
I'll get to that in a couple seconds, but we got a few comments here. Patricia says, "Goal, Jays goal." Secondly, here's a question from Scott McBain. Scott wants to know tomorrow, Game 7, Blue Jays win, a big party here, but how is downtown going to be if they win? And how's downtown going to be if they lose? So hold on. Please, fans, I know I'm excited. Norm, well, this is his voice. He's not the best he can do to get fired up at 11 o'clock, right? So please go out, celebrate the victory. If they win, if they lose, I know it's crushing, but don't kill the streets. Don't do anything. Just to party good. Party normally, don't break signs and street lights and everything like that. Also, I'd be reminiscent to say today, Jose Batista threw out the first pitch. It's his birthday today. I spoke to him. We're trying to get Jose Batista, if the Blue Jays get to the World Series, during the World Series. Also, if they get to the World Series, hopefully we'll be joined by former Blue Jays Jesse Lynch, Frank Cardonado, Vernon Wells, and all that. Again, it's a fluid thing here and all that. Norm, do you want to say anything to Jose Batista on his birthday?
Yes,
Say it
Feliz.
in Spanish, Norm. Say it in Spanish.
Yeah. Let's see if I get it right. Feliz cumpleaños. Did I get that correct?
Cumpleaños. Yeah, feliz cumpleaños.
Yeah, feliz cumpleaños. El gusto es mío. And I look forward to speaking with you right here on the Fired Up Network, Jose Bautista. Very happy birthday. Many happy returns.
And Norm, are you going to buy a booster juice for Jose Bautista or what?
Well, maybe he can.
Well, you cheapskate. You're not even going to get him a.
Well, seeing as he owns a franchise or a couple of franchises, maybe he can buy me one.
See again. By the way, he's a owner of a soccer team in Vegas. Also, that's Jose Batista, and he starts following, because I spoke to him, starts following a team in the EPL. I'm not going to say it's Chelsea, and he likes Chelsea, but he likes another team. All right, he likes another team. Maybe we'll discuss a little bit of footy on the Blue Jays strike zone during the World Series. Now, Norm, tomorrow, 8 o'clock. All right, Game 7. You were there, starting the Fan 590 back in 92, 93, and all that. Tell everybody the atmosphere when it was, and how do you think it's going to be different tomorrow, win or lose. If they win, obviously, by the way, if they win, Game 1 and Game 2 are in Toronto against the Dodgers Friday and Saturday. So it's Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in LA, and then Friday, Saturday again in Toronto if it's Game 6 and 7, if necessary. But how do you think after like 30, 32 years, do you think it's going to be more alive, more electric and all that if they get to the World Series?
I don't think it'd be more electric. I think it's hard to match the excitement of the first time. You know, when they played Atlanta in '92 and then Philadelphia in '93. So it'll always be special because it's like the first time for anything, right? It's always special. So it's hard to match that. But this is different. It's a different generation of people, different generation of fans, you know, a lot of whom weren't around to see the Jays in '92 and '93. So it's very unique and it stands alone. So I wouldn't say there's more excitement or less excitement. It's just, you know, it's just a different day on the calendar. That's all, and it's decades later.
All right. Your buddy has chimed in here. Mark asking, everybody gets an invite to this. He says it's Jolton Joe show, but it's really the president of the provinces of Canada and his secretary show. Norm, you're the secretary. Mark, by the way, you're invited anytime on. We could discuss the Maple Leafs. We could discuss the Blue Jays. We could discuss me carrying Norm from the Fan 590 for like 25 years. We could discuss one of your favorite segments, the Raptors Wrestling Roundtable. But he actually is picking the Blue Jays to win. And he didn't say this, but I'm going to ask him live on the air. Mark, Blue Jays to win, but how many games will the Blue Jays win or lose in the World Series to the Dodgers? Now, we're going to do a couple other things here because, you know, Sunday it's NFL day and we talk EPL and the MLS concluded their regular season and everything like that. But Norm, let's say the Blue Jays, for that matter, Seattle, but since the Blue Jays strike zone, let's talk about the Blue Jays. They make it the World Series. Do they have any chance against the Dodgers, who swept away the best team in baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers?
Yeah, of course they have a chance. So, you know, like I've said all along, in a playoff, anything can happen. And you remember our friend Mike Wilner reminded us that baseball playoffs in general are a crapshoot. It's not always the best team that wins. I think the Dodgers are the best team in baseball, but does that necessarily mean the Blue Jays can't beat them? No, absolutely not. So I'll state it right here, just in case it works out that way.
Hold on. You're listening to another prediction by the broadcasting legend, who actually is batting a very good average during the MLB postseason. So, Norm, take it away.
All right. So if it's the Blue Jays against the LA Dodgers, I again will pick the Blue Jays to win in 7 games. How do you like that, Joe?
What? You're going to say the Blue Jays are going to beat the Dodgers in 7 games?
Yes.
With the Dodgers having the pitching staff they do and some guy named Shohei Ohtani?
Yes.
Norm, can you touch your forehead?
No disrespect to Shohei Ohtani. No respect to the LA Dodgers.
Are you okay? Like, how many beers did you drink? How many vodka did you have? How many Manischewitz did you have? Come on, how many bacon, egg, lettuce, tomato, BLT, kosher challah did you have? Come on.
Just peanut butter, Joe.
That's all you ate today? Come on. All right. Peanut butter. All right. And we have time to discuss if the Blue Jays get to the World Series. By the way, we'll be doing a post-game show tomorrow here right after the Blue Jay game. So tomorrow right here after the Blue Jay game, whether they win, whether they lose, whether I'm going to, Norm, should we place a bet here? The Blue Jays win and you go without a shirt on the Fired Up Network. Think about the ratings, Norm.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the ratings will be.
My sister who's watching it says, Normie, put a smile on. The Blue Jays won. Put a smile on. She's even telling you to put a smile. Be fired up. Come on, Norm. It's my sister. You do stuff for her. Come on. By the way,
Well, why you invite Betty on the show already, Joe?
Well, it's too late, man. Come on, she has kids and all that. But listen. By the way, I mentioned it's Jose Batista's birthday. It is also your accountant's birthday, or your insurance agent, Harvey Corman's birthday. Anything you want to say to Harvey Corman?
Yeah, Feliz Cumpleaños.
He says, "Why is Norm talking German?" So, like, Norm, he doesn't speak Spanish. So, do you want to say anything to Harvey?
Yeah, happy birthday, Harvey, and wishing you many more, and enjoy your special day. And I'm sure we'll speak to you sometime pretty soon.
Yeah. All right. There's the birthday shoutouts. Okay. So, is there anything else you want to touch on the ALCS Game 6 and look forward to Game 7 tomorrow? We'll be on here right after the game again. Okay. Now, I know today you were busy watching, EPL and the NFL. I'll quickly get to the NFL games and scoreboard here. A couple things that I can't believe, like Norm, I don't know if you know this, but the Giants had the game in the hand. They were leading by like 20 points, and they lose to the Denver Broncos 33-32.
Yeah, and how about those New England Patriots, Joe?
Norm, do you want me to be cut off here or what? Yes, the New England Patriots. Well, they beat Tennessee. Come on, but New England is alone in first place in the AFC East. Second place, of course, is the Buffalo Bills. But listen to this, okay? I mentioned the Giants and the Denver Broncos. Okay, Jackson Dart was 15 of 33, 283, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Bo Nix, 27 of 50, 279, 2 touchdowns. But here it is. I'm going to tell you. The Giants were up. 19-0 in this contest till the fourth quarter. All right. Yeah. And Denver scored 33 points in the fourth quarter en route to 33-32 victory. Denver's 5-2. The Giants are now 2-5. Another good game, and I know you watched this. The Philadelphia Eagles disposed of the Minnesota Vikings 28-22. Very close game. Philadelphia also 5-2. The Vikings 3-3 there. Kansas City looks like they're rolling again. 31-0 beating the Raiders. A very, very surprising. This team, it has to be the surprising team of 2025/26. It is the Indianapolis Colts. They go into SoFi Stadium and defeat the LA Chargers, not by a point, 2 points, 3 points, 38-24. 38-24. They're 6-1, and the Chargers now 4-3. But some guy that the Giants just threw away, Daniel Jones, 23 of 34, 288, 2 touchdowns. Justin Herbert, 37 of 55, 420 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You want to discuss any of those games, Norm?
Well, I just would say, Joe, you being the diehard Buffalo Bills fan that you are you wearing the Bills white jersey, their third jersey?
No, we're doing Blue Jays. Look, Blue Jays.
Oh, come on. Okay. All right. Well, anyways, you got to admit that.
Thank you, Patricia. She says I look good. Well, Patricia, I don't know who you are, but can you give me your opinion on Norm RUMACK? All right, Norm. So go ahead. She'll tell.
Yeah.
Norm RUMACK. So
yeah. Well, you got to admit that the Bills could be looking at Denver Broncos as a playoff opponent, and they don't mind cold weather, Joe.
No. Listen. You're good. You're good at baseball. You predicted the Blue Jays. Now I'm going to say it. Where's Mike Wilner with the Toronto Star? My good friends at the Toronto Star. All right, Mike Wilner. Norm RUMACK has predicted the 2025 Major League Baseball champions will be the Toronto Blue Jays. Norm RUMACK, Stormin Norman RUMACK, that hammerhead, has predicted the World Series champion for 2025 will be the Toronto Blue Jays. If he loses, he will shave his head, he will shave his back, he will do anything and buy and have me a $500 gift card to Starbucks. That's the deal. If Norm is right, Eric Cohen will shave his head. All right, that's the deal, Norm. If you're right, Eric Cohen will lose 3 of his hairs because he does the comb over and all that. But that's the note here. But regarding the Bills have an off week this week, a bye week. Baltimore Ravens have a bye week. The Bills next week travel to Carolina. Carolina coming up again. They're above 500. They're 4-3. They're above 500. And for me, it's going to be a very difficult game. But you want to start? Sean McDermott, the coach of the Buffalo Bills, has never lost following a bye week. And this is mandatory week this week for me. Mandatory win. Why? Ask me why, Norm.
Why, Joe?
Because the following week on November 2nd, Eric Cohen's birthday, the Bills host in Buffalo the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a mandatory victory this next week against Carolina in Carolina as the Bills will host the Kansas City Chiefs. And by the way, the next week after, November 9th, the Bills travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Expect the Dolphins to clean house this week. Next week, the Dolphins, again, losing to the Cleveland Browns, beating the Dolphins 31-6. And the late night game here, San Fran beating Atlanta 20-10. Just gone final. 20-10, San Fran beating Atlanta. Now, we're going to close out. I know this is Blue Jay Strike Zone, but we talk about every sport here on Fired Up Network. By the way, CPL closed out this season, and the Forge won the Shield. Forge won the Shield, and of course, Messi won the Golden Boot in MLS this year. All right, so there you go. And CPL playoffs start on Wednesday. They start on Wednesday. Tomorrow or on Tuesday starts the NBA regular season. The Raptors start Wednesday in Atlanta. So we're NBA starting off right now. But here we got to close this out with talk of Norm's favorite team. No, it's not Chelsea. Of the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Here, I'm going to say this. I am the president of the province of Canada, the mayor-elect of North America, soon to run for the mayor of Mozambique. I can't spell it, but I can run for it. Norm, as I told you yesterday, I had a source saying Buffalo will beat the Florida Panthers. Not only beat them, they came out and performed a great game, shutting them out, all this. I took your team. Chelsea will win, and they won't win by a goal. They'll win by 2 or more. They won 3-0 and 3-0. What did I tell you? All I need to do to win some pro line and give you some cash, what did I tell you I needed?
You needed the Leafs to win against Seattle.
Yes, just to win. 3-2, 4-3, 2-1, whatever. Now, Norm, I'm going to ask you this. Is Seattle a good team?
They're average at best.
Okay. Now, should the Maple Leafs beat Seattle? It's Saturday night. It's at Scotiabank Arena. Should they beat the Seattle Kraken?
Playing at home, especially so, yeah.
Yeah. Did they?
No, they lost in overtime.
Now, these idiots, these Maple Leaf idiots, Leaf forever and bleeding blue and white and everything like that. I'm a Maple Leaf fan, but they cost me money. They cost me money, and especially when I had a tip that the Buffalo Sabres will beat the Florida Panthers by more than a goal, especially that I had a feeling that at Norm's team, Chelsea, would win by more than a goal. All I need was the Toronto Maple Leafs to win so I could collect some moolah to give to Norm or to buy my girlfriend a present. All right? That's the truth. What does the Maple Leaf do? What does McCabe do? What does Nylander do? What does Tavares? What does Matthews do? What? They don't do anything. Losing to the Seattle Kraken. Get cracking, Maple Leafs. You're 6 games into the season, and what? And wait a minute. The big story, and I know you probably read this, Stolars, the goalie, is complaining about his teammates about not protecting him. Seattle running Stolars. What do you think about that, Norm?
Well, they'll have to work that out internally. I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but yeah, they had a few shots at him in the net, and that's the style of play these days. The Florida Panthers do the same thing sometimes.
Florida Panthers with Marchand going into Buffalo and causing a problem with also his, Rasmus Dahlin and all that. But we're about 2 weeks into the NHL season, Norm. Any big things surprise you thus far?
Well, how about those Detroit Red Wings?
Yes, the first place team in the Atlantic Division, meaning the Maple Leafs division. They lost their first game and haven't lost since.
Yep. Yeah, they're looking really sharp. And it's a nice story because, ever since that dynasty ended, the Yzerman dynasty of the Detroit Red Wings.
By the way, you talked about the Red Wings. Sorry, Norm, I just got to mention today's scores. Vancouver beating Washington 4-3. Chicago in overtime beating Anaheim 2-1. Utah beating Boston 3-2. But Detroit doubling up on Edmonton 4-2. So Detroit winning again. And Edmonton, of course, they lost yesterday to New Jersey. So they lost yesterday to New Jersey and lost today to Detroit. A lot of people have to be a little concerned there in Edmonton.
Yeah, Edmonton's off to a slow start, that's for sure. But it's still early. Calgary's off to a brutal start. They got to be really careful.
So the Red
anyway,
Wings 1 and the Oilers are 2-4-1, and Calgary's 1-6. All right,
yeah.
The Red Wings 6-1. So for people who are, we lost to the Red Wings back to back, Maple Leafs about a week and a half ago. Well, the Red Wings are the best team right now in the league. So losing to Detroit back to back is not a shame.
Well, yeah, I don't know, Joe. The Leafs are off to an okay start, but not a great start.
All right. By the way, tomorrow on Prime, we got Buffalo and Montreal. Both teams are hot there also. But again, we'll close it out here. We'll be back tomorrow with Blue Jays Strike Zone right after the Blue Jays Game 7. Norm says the Blue Jays will beat the Seattle Mariners in Game 7. I also say that. Also, so that will be around 11 o'clock. About 6 o'clock p.m., myself and Mark Everett Kelly preview the Monday Night Football matchups. There's 2 Monday Night Football games tomorrow. The first one is a great game. Tampa at Detroit. And then at 10 o'clock, Houston and Seattle. Who you got, Tampa or Detroit? That's a good game there.
That's a great game. I think that's like a pick 'em, like flip a coin, right? And that's about it. I'll give Detroit a very slight edge in that game. Like a field goal, and that's about it. I can see that game going right down to the wire, like last play of the game or even overtime.
And Houston and Seattle should be a good game also. That's at 10 o'clock. And just since we're doing everything about Monday, don't forget Monday Raw, where they make an announcement of Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, for those who don't know, is legitimately injured. He needs surgery on his shoulder. They don't know how long it's going to be till they perform the surgery. They're hoping he would be back for WrestleMania. That's in April. So if you look October to April, that's 6 months away from the ring. That's all I'm saying. And, great AEW show, Wrestle Dream, yesterday. A little bit too violent, but Sting showing up and helping his good friend Darby Allin. All right, Norm, as we conclude, tell everybody how they get a hold of you.
Yeah, right here on the Fired Up Network, usually 2-3 times a week. I'm on with Mr. Pasek, Joseph Pasek, that you see to my left, or watching on your phone or screen, be to my right. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you find me right here. The Fired Up Network, we cover all the sports. As you can see, we covered quite a bit tonight. Even though the baseball was a focus, we still covered some hockey and some other sports as well. And that's what we do here. We cover all the major sports you follow. So check us out right here on the Fired Up Network, and you'll get your fill of sports and opinions. And we appreciate you tuning us in whenever you can. Thank you so much.
And according to Norm RUMACK, we are going to the World Series. Norm, start spreading the news. I'm going to talk to Batista. I'm going to get another ring, Norm. I'm going to get another ring. You know, I'm like Liberace. I collect rings, Norm. I collect. Do you collect rings, Norm?
Yeah, ones that I earned.
Are you saying I bled, I sweat, I carried you for 25 years now, and you don't think I earned that? Come on.
The Argo replica, the Argo fan replica ring, you mean?
Speaking about the Argos have concluded their season last place in the Canadian Football League. The defending Grey Cup champions, now last place in the Canadian Football League. And only in the CFL do they have the Argos, a Grey Cup champion, having a bye on the last week of play. All right? Enough there. All right? So for Norm RUMACK, this is Joseph Pasek. Stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network, and we'll be back tomorrow. We want it all, Norm. We want it all. Go, Jays, go. Thanks, Norm.
Okay, thank you.